Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Diane's unsettling news, Daniel's true feelings for Tessa. According to Monday, August 11th spoilers for The Young and the Restless, Diane Jenkins Abbott receives some disturbing news, and Daniel Romalotti Jr. will discuss his true feelings for Tessa Porter. Daniel will first go to the park to hook up with Danny Romalotti. Regarding Daniel's relationship with Tessa and the recent direction it has taken, at least from his perspective, it will be quite illuminating. Daniel will perceive that his kid might see Tessa as more than just a friend based on what he confides. Eventually, Daniel will admit that he could be falling for Tessa, but there will undoubtedly be complications because of her pending marriage. Despite their breakup and Mariah's reluctance to talk about her problems, Tessa still has feelings for Mariah Copeland. Tessa will continue to struggle and question whether they have a future together because Mariah is excluding her and making decisions about their relationship on her own. According to Y&R spoilers, Jack Abbott will be very busy after a strategy session with Billy Abbott. Later on, Jack will tell Diane about Kane Ashby's ambitions for Genoa City and how Billy could be able to assist keep Jabot safe. But when Diane learns that Billy might make or ruin the family business's future, she will become quite concerned. For this takedown operation to succeed, Billy will need to persuade Kane that he is a team player. Billy will be expected to provide Jack with intelligence in order to eventually stop Kane from inside. Naturally, Diane might wonder if they can rely on Billy to remain faithful to the Abbotts. Diane might worry that they need a backup plan in case Billy fails them because he also gets sidetracked frequently. Regarding Kane, he will contemplate whether he ought to proceed with an alliance against the Abbotts with Victor Newman. There is a chance that both parties will betray each other, even if Kane gives Victor the impression that they have come to an understanding. According to teasers for The Young and the Restless, Victor and Kane will need to exercise caution, so we'll keep you informed about any potentially nefarious developments. Adam has outgrown Chelsea's devotion to Billy. Additionally, this week on Y&R, Lily breaks the bad news to Holden and Claire takes matters into her own hands. Adam's emotions are made clear by August 11th to 15th anytime he hears Chelsea defend Billy. Claire is still handling things herself in the interim. And Lily tells Holden the dreadful news. The Young and the Restless next week. For a brief moment, we believed Adam and Chelsea's professional convictions solidified back in Genoa City while the majority of the Newmans were away at that strange Demar gathering a murder mystery tour. They were in agreement. However, Chelsea still had to express her desire for Adam to stop Victor from sending his son to fight the anti-Billy war. It appears like the head of Newman Media has had enough next week. Teasers indicate that Adam becomes impatient with Chelsea's devotion to Billy. Why shouldn't he become impatient? It makes sense that she would want Adam to be kind with Billy, but since Victor is Adam's father, that wish is limited. How about her devotion to Adam? What will Chelsea's response be to this? Will she come to regret working with Adam? Speaking of Billy, he won't have to deal with Adam or Victor the next week. Rather, he will have to deal with Nick, who becomes angry with Billy. Perhaps Billy's possible alliance with Kane is causing Nick trouble. Victor, on the other hand, is unable to stop tampering with his adversaries. It's always his way or the highway when he plays Puppet Master, which he adores. Watch for Victor to strike back at Kane. Will Kane lose this battle, or is it only a short setback? After hearing the Newman news, Claire decides to handle things herself. We are aware that Claire's image of being a good girl and spotless could disappear at any moment. And ever since Victor made a point by using Cole's memory, it has been waning. In addition, he had teamed up with Audra to separate her from Kyle. What, therefore, is involved in her taking affairs into her own hands? And above all, who is involved? She might pursue Audra, who enjoys badgering Kyle about what happened in Nice. Should Audra be concerned? Does Victor? In the meantime, is Holden the last to learn about Damien's passing away if Lily is breaking the dreadful news to him? Before they fell out, they were co-workers and best friends. What is Holden's reaction to the news? See Dominic's character, Nate, has been occupied with grieving over his half-brother, whom he only recently met. He is therefore most likely unaware of Audra's loss of Vibrante and the cause of her business closure. And it will remain that way if she has her away. With Nate, Audra tries to hide her identity. Sharon worries about Mariah in the world of Tessa and Mariah. In addition to isolating herself, she isn't acting like the Mariah that everyone knows when she visits her kid. Tessa has been irritated by it, and Sharon is now concerned. Sharon is not the type of person who will just watch her family suffer. Jack first urges Nikki to join forces with Victor, and then he turns to Victoria for assistance. Man, there's no chance for Kane. Sharon has legitimate concerns about Mariah. Her marriage is in ruins and she is being consumed by her sinister secret. Holden, who seems to be the last to find out what happened to his old friend Damien, receives dreadful news from Lily. Spoilers for Tuesday, August 12. Is young and restless. Daniel learns Phyllis's secret. Daniel then says, "Really, Mom? You don't have to tell me about all of your wild activities." Audra hides with Nate even as she tries to stir things up in Claire and Kyle's relationship. Personally, we believe she ought to go deeper into this part of herself. Spoilers for Young and Restless for Wednesday, August 13th. Let's get started. Victor strikes back at Kane. Does anyone else believe he won't survive the week before the mustache adds him to the list of enemies? To be honest, we understand when Nick loses his temper with Billy. Jill's son can handle 6 people with his attitude. Jack gets a surprise invitation. Given what transpired when he said yes to Kane the previous time, Jack might want to say no, thanks. Thursday, August 14th. Spoilers for Young and Restless. Victor doesn't want to assign the tasks he enjoys the most, such as fighting enemies, yet he nevertheless enlists Nick to defeat an opponent. Christine requests a favor from Lauren. Maybe Matron of Honor? Daniel confesses to Danny that his feelings for Tessa are getting stronger every day. It's good that even after all these years, they can still surprise each other. Sharon notices a different side of Nick. Kane makes a commitment to Lily even though he has repeatedly shown that he is incapable of keeping it. Chelsea's devotion to Billy irritates Adam. Daniel's real feelings for Tessa, Diane's unsettling news. The crisp morning air in Genoa City felt charged with anticipation, like the prelude to a storm. Daniel Romalotti Jr. walked through Chancellor Park, his hands tucked into his jacket pockets, his mind far from the charming scenery. He had agreed to meet his father, Danny Romalotti, for coffee and a catch-up, but he knew the conversation would eventually drift toward a subject he had been wrestling with for weeks, one he hadn't even been ready to admit to himself, let alone to anyone else. Danny arrived with his usual easy smile, greeting his son with warmth and genuine curiosity. They chatted about Luce's school year, a few music gigs Danny had lined up, and the usual pleasantries. But Danny wasn't blind. He noticed Daniel's distracted tone, the faraway look in his eyes whenever the conversation slowed. "Okay," Danny finally said, leaning back on the bench and fixing his son with a knowing look. "You've got that I'm hiding something big from Dad vibe. You gonna spill, or do I have to guess?" Daniel gave a reluctant chuckle, but the sound lacked his usual playfulness. "It's complicated," he admitted. "It's about Tessa." That got Danny's attention. He knew Daniel had been friendly with Tessa Porter for years, mostly through Mariah and their overlapping circles. But there was something different in Daniel's tone now, something deeper. Daniel hesitated, searching for the right words. "We've been spending more time together lately. At first, it was just talking, you know? She needed someone to listen while she's been dealing with everything going on with Mariah. But, somewhere along the way, I started feeling more." Danny tilted his head. "More, as in?" Daniel sighed. "As in, I'm starting to think about her when she's not around. As in, I catch myself wanting to make her smile just to see it. And I know it's wrong because she's still married, even if her marriage is hanging by a thread." Danny didn't rush to judgment. He understood that hearts rarely operated within clean boundaries. "Does Tessa know how you feel?" "No," Daniel said quickly. "And I'm not planning to tell her. She's still in love with Mariah, I know that. But she's also hurt, and alone. Mariah's shutting her out, making all these decisions about their relationship without even talking to her. Tessa's confused about whether they even have a future." Danny studied his son for a long moment. "Then you have to be careful, Daniel. Being the shoulder she leans on is one thing. Crossing that line while she's vulnerable is another. If you care about her, you'll make sure you don't become the reason her marriage falls apart." Daniel nodded. but his expression betrayed his internal conflict. He wasn't sure how much longer he could keep his feelings under wraps. Across town, Jabot's executive offices were buzzing with tension. Jack Abbott had just wrapped up a strategy session with Billy Abbott, and the conversation had left him both hopeful and uneasy. Billy was supposed to help him gather intel on Kane Ashby's latest plans, moves that could threaten Jabot's stability. Jack found Diane Jenkins Abbott in her office, meticulously reviewing design proposals. She looked up with a warm smile that faltered as soon as she caught the tightness in Jack's expression. "What's wrong?" she asked, setting down her pen. Jack closed the door. "I just finished talking to Billy. He's agreed to play along with Kane, make him think they are on the same side, so he can feed me information. But Diane, if Billy slips up, Kane could use him to take Jabot apart from the inside." Diane's brow furrowed. "Jack, you know Billy's track record. He's impulsive. He gets distracted. And if Kane senses weakness, he'll exploit it. Are you sure we can trust Billy to stay loyal?" Jack exhaled. "I'm not sure of anything right now. But without someone on the inside, Kane's moves will blindside us." Diane's unease deepened. She could already envision Kane maneuvering circles around Billy, turning him into an unwitting pawn. "Then we need a backup plan," she insisted. "If Billy can't deliver, Jabot needs a safeguard, before it's too late." Meanwhile, Kane was in his own war room of sorts, mulling over an offer from Victor Newman. The idea of teaming up with Victor to strike at the Abbotts had a certain appeal, especially if it advanced his own goals. But Kane was no fool. He knew that any alliance with Victor came with an expiration date and a high risk of betrayal. Victor, on the other hand, was already plotting contingencies. If Kane proved useful, fine. If not, Victor had other ways to neutralize him. And if Kane thought he could play both sides, he'd better be prepared for the inevitable retaliation from the mustache himself. At Crimson Lights, Adam Newman nursed a coffee, clearly irritated. Chelsea Lawson had once again defended Billy, the very man Adam's father wanted to target. Adam couldn't understand why Chelsea was so loyal to someone who had caused her so much grief in the past. "Why is it," Adam muttered under his breath, "that her loyalty to Billy always outweighs her loyalty to me?" His patience was wearing thin. He had tolerated her moral appeals long enough, but Victor's pressure to keep the heat on Billy was intensifying. And if Chelsea couldn't support him in that, Adam wondered if they were headed for yet another professional and personal collision. Elsewhere, Claire Grace was growing restless. Her squeaky clean image was starting to fray, especially after recent run-ins with Victor and Audra Charles. The thought of Audra smugly reminding Kyle Abbott about their history in Nice was enough to make Claire's blood boil. She was tired of waiting for others to solve her problems. So, she decided to take matters into her own hands. What exactly that meant was still forming in her mind, but one thing was certain. She was done playing the polite, passive game. Back at Society, Lily Winters prepared herself for a difficult conversation with Holden. The news she carried was heavy. Damien was dead. Holden had been one of Damien's closest friends before a falling out drove them apart. The loss would hit him hard, not only because of their history, but because it was final proof that reconciliation would never come. When Lily told him, Holden's face went pale. He sank into a chair, the weight of the news settling on him. "We wasted so much time," he said quietly. "And now, there's nothing left to fix." Lily offered comfort, but she could see the pain in his eyes. She knew grief when she saw it, and this was going to take more than a few consoling words to ease. At the Newman Ranch, Sharon Rosales paced in Victor's living room after an impromptu meeting. She was increasingly worried about Mariah, who had isolated herself from almost everyone, including Tessa. Mariah's withdrawal was straining her marriage and raising red flags for Sharon, who suspected a deeper, darker reason behind it. Sharon vowed not to stand by and watch her daughter's life unravel. If Mariah wouldn't talk to Tessa, maybe Sharon could reach her. But as she prepared to step in, Sharon knew she risked pushing her daughter even further away. By the end of the day, the various threads in Genoa City were tightening into knots. Daniel wrestled with his growing feelings for Tessa, knowing the timing couldn't be worse. Diane feared Billy's role in Jack's plan would backfire, leaving Jabot vulnerable. Kane weighed whether to commit to Victor's alliance or play his own dangerous double game. Adam's frustration with Chelsea's loyalty to Billy threatened their fragile partnership. Claire was ready to abandon her good girl act and fight her battles her own way. Lily delivered devastating news to Holden, reopening old wounds. Sharon prepared to confront Mariah's secrecy, even if it meant stirring up more trouble. The chessboard in Genoa City was set. Every move from here on out would have consequences, some immediate, others lurking in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And while the players thought they understood the risks, Y&R history had proven that in this town, even the best-laid plans had a way of exploding spectacularly. Next week's teasers hinted that the fireworks were only just beginning. Phyllis sharing a secret with Daniel that could complicate his emotional turmoil over Tessa. Victor's retaliation against Kane, which could either cripple him or force him to come back swinging harder. Nick losing his cool with Billy, possibly pushing him closer to Kane's orbit. Christine making an unusual request of Lauren, suggesting wedding bells or another high-stakes event. And Kane, ever the unpredictable wild card, making a promise to Lily that he may not be able or willing to keep. In Genoa City, loyalty is currency, trust is fleeting, and love, well, love is the most dangerous gamble of all. The afternoon sun was dipping low, casting long shadows across Chancellor Park. Daniel lingered on the bench long after his father had left, staring at the path Tessa had once walked with Mariah, laughing and carefree. That image clung to him like a bittersweet memory. He hated himself for imagining what it would be like to be the man who made her laugh that way now. His phone buzzed. A text from Tessa lit up the screen. "Hey, are you free to talk later? Need a friend." Daniel exhaled slowly. A friend. The word hit him like both a comfort and a curse. He typed back quickly, agreeing to meet at Crimson Lights later that evening. But already, his mind was spinning. Could he keep his feelings in check when she looked at him with those warm, searching eyes? At Jabot, Diane was still in Jack's office, running through every worst-case scenario she could think of. Jack tried to reassure her, but she wasn't buying it. "Jack, you're asking Billy to infiltrate Kane's plans," Diane said, pacing. "But Kane is cunning, and has been in this game a long time. What if Billy actually starts believing Kane's pitch? What if he decides there's more in it for him on Kane's side?" Jack leaned forward, his tone steady. "Then we'll deal with it. But right now, this is the best move we've got. Kane's hiding something big, and I don't intend to find out the hard way what it is." Diane's unease only deepened. In her mind, she saw Jabot's legacy slipping away piece by piece, all because Billy decided to gamble with fire. In a sleek corner booth at Society, Kane was on the phone with an unknown contact, his voice low but sharp. "Victor thinks he can use me to settle an old score with the Abbotts," Kane said with a smirk. "What he doesn't realize is that I'm not anyone's pawn. If he wants an alliance, fine. But I'll be the one calling the shots in the end." He ended the call just as Billy walked in, all casual charm and thinly veiled suspicion. "Kane," Billy greeted with a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "Heard you're cooking up something big. Mind letting me in on the recipe?" Kane chuckled. "Depends. Are you hungry for power, or just hungry to get one over on Jack?" The two men sized each other up, the air between them thick with unspoken agendas. Back at Crimson Lights, Adam spotted Chelsea across the room, chatting with Abby. He waited until Abby left before sliding into the seat across from her. "We need to talk," he said without preamble. Chelsea tensed. "If this is about Billy." "It is about Billy," Adam interrupted. "And about you constantly defending him. I'm not asking you to hate the guy, Chelsea. I'm asking you to stop undermining me when Victor expects results." Chelsea's eyes flashed with frustration. "This isn't about undermining you, Adam. It's about not letting Victor drag you into another endless war. You've changed, you're better than this, and I'm not going to stand by while you throw yourself into another feud that destroys everything." Adam leaned back, studying her. "Or maybe you're just still protecting Billy. Still loyal to him in a way you'll never be to me." The accusation stung, and for a moment, Chelsea couldn't find the words to respond. Elsewhere, Claire sat in her apartment, a photo of her and Kyle on her phone screen. She swiped past it to one of Audra smiling, confident, and infuriatingly smug. Claire's jaw tightened.